my dear friends, welcome to today's webinar. In our last webinar on the subject of do prayers get answered, we took a fresh look at prayer from a number of angles based on some out-of-the-box thinking. And in today's insight, I would like to take it a step further and focus on the mindset that we need to have and the practical approaches we can take towards prayer, where peace and tranquility, are present. And in our world today, these are totally absent phenomena. Power of hope is in short supply. So this prayer session today that we're going to learn about the approaches should help give us the focus that regardless of the chaos we are in, we can zero in, we can focus, and we can achieve fulfilling prayer. Now, the video of last week's webinar is available on the YouTube channel. So please do view it, and view it several times, because each time you view it, you will find more answers. So let me just in less than a half a minute recap some of the key points of our last webinar, which will help us set the context for today's insight. Firstly, prayer is fundamentally a process of communication. And as humans, we all have the need and the instinct of communication. Prayer gives us a stage where we can communicate in deeper and more fulfilling ways. Prayer enables us to speak freely with the very life force that exists in every cell of our bodies and be heard without interruption in an atmosphere where material chaos is absent. This life force is synonymous with our source or creator, who we refer to in so many different ways. And therefore, prayer enables us to engage with the highest levels of our being, as well as connect with all our fellow beings and creation at an elevated mental and spiritual level through our collective consciousness. So after all, how are prayers answered? Not through flashes of lightning in the sky, but simply through other beings and creation who end up delivering to us the outcome of what we are seeking. Let me share an example with you, simple one. Let us say that your loved one is in critical condition in hospital, and you are very worried, and you pray that the surgery goes well. And it does. So who were the instruments that responded to your prayer? Was it the doctors, the nurses, and all the hospital staff? Or was it them plus a wider makeup of the hospital, which includes the construction workers who laid its bricks, and the people who funded the whole project, all the way up to the person or people who had the initial idea and intention to build this hospital? And where did the intention come from? It came from the life force, the creator, which permeated all the way down to everything that makes up the hospital, every brick of it. Now, what does this vision remind you of? To me, it reminds me of the pyramid, from apex to base. And prayer calls out to the whole pyramid, where while you may petition what is at the peak of the pyramid, you also connect with all levels of the pyramid, all the way down to its base, where you are at that given point in time praying for your loved one in hospital. You are at the base. So you and your loved one are at the base of the pyramid, but through your prayer thoughts, you engage with the entire pyramid. And that is where those that will answer your prayers will emerge from. I call it the sacred pyramid. The sacred pyramid, a simple but grounding description. So you can see how powerful prayer is and can be. And this is why today we're going to explore how best we can harness this truly sacred power. I would say that prayer is one of our greatest blessings. It is our right, and we should all exercise this right in whatever way resonates best with us. Therefore, my dear friends, prayer is no light matter. It is not something we simply follow out of compulsion or fear. It is a beautiful dimension of our being, a dimension that connects us with the entire pyramid of creation, the sacred pyramid. Hence, we have to approach prayer with the correct mindset. Now, what do I mean by mindset? The published literature defines mindset as mindset is the collection of attitudes, beliefs, and expectations that shape how we perceive situations and respond to them. That is mindset. Now let us take this a step further through a simple example. Let us say you're going in for an interview that is pivotal to your career. Are you simply going to walk in unprepared and just blurt out what comes to mind? Or are you just going to repeat your thoughts like a parrot? Or are you going to prepare yourself through addressing some key questions, such as, what is my intention for this interview? What do I seek to achieve from it? Who are the people I am meeting with, and what is their company or project all about? What are their goals and objectives? What can I do to help them meet these goals? What am I seeking in return from them? And how would I like them to perceive me? Confident, humble, understated, loud, commanding. How would I like them to perceive me? As you can see where this list of questions go, and it's different for all of us. So you go through all your questions, and then you reach the last one, which can be, what is the one most important thing that can help me get through this interview, and how can I show the best part of myself? The answer lies with my life force, my creator, the apex of my sacred pyramid. So you take a few moments for prayer, which aligns your body, aligns your mind and spirit for this important event, and then you walk in. This alignment is very important because what will the interviewer be looking for consciously? Your body language, you have aligned yourself. Your thoughts, they are aligned. Your presentation style, your personality, etc., etc. And subconsciously, he or she will be feeling your energy. He or she will be feeling your energy. So your prayer helps put you in a state where you can show the best part of yourself to your interview. The wonderful being that you are, without the need for acting or not being or trying to be someone else. Just the wonderful being that you are. And this is how prayer helps us to project ourselves with the right energy. So you are walking into that interview with the light of your Creator, the very light that also makes up your interviewer. So this is how you enter the interview with a wholesome and prepared mindset. Remember, wholesome and prepared. So from the perspective of preparing for prayer, we have to develop our own unique mindset that resonates with us. We are all different, and that is something to be respected. So today I'm going to offer some ideas for you to consider, and you can choose how they can help refine your mindset and how you can utilize them in the best way possible, if at all. Starting with our intention. And as we have discussed before in many webinars, intention is a very powerful thought that shapes the road ahead. It is the clear purpose behind our actions, and it becomes powerful because it directs focus, aligns energy, and gives meaning to what we do. Intention. So before we engage in prayer, we would benefit from taking a few moments to reflect on our intention for the prayer, just like the interview, because it is the conscious setting of our purpose and focus of the prayer. It aligns the heart and the mind so that our prayer is meaningful rather than mechanical. Here are some examples of intention that can start with some wide-ranging, non-selfish ones. So, for example, I wish to help bring an end to all wars and conflicts in our world. I seek peace, unity, and harmony in our world. I seek to help alleviate poverty. I seek healing for those who are unwell or in pain or grieving. I seek cleansing and healing of our environment. So these are examples of unselfish and wide-ranging prayer. And in our Sharing Hope meditations, our intentions are primarily of this nature, very unselfish. Next, we have selfish intentions as well as non-selfish intentions directed at specific people. Like, for example, I pray for healing of my loved one or friend who is in pain and suffering. I pray for abundance in my life and the lives of my loved ones. I pray for success of my children in whatever endeavors they may be pursuing. And the list is endless, and we all know them. Whatever your intention is, it is perfectly fine. What matters is that before you start praying, take a few moments to reflect on your intentions, because this will set the stage for how meaningful and fulfilling your prayer will be. But one thing is very important, and that is being honest about your intention. Here's a light-hearted but true example. When I was little, my grandmother often told me that if you do this, that, or the other, you will end up being thrown into the fire, and you will be punished. And this includes for not saying my prayers. I felt like one day I would end up like a hamburger on the fire. But fortunately, I quickly realized that this was not true. Because even at that age, I felt the presence of a very loving, higher being in my life, even at that innocent age, that would never hurt me, come what may. So I did not believe in any form of fear instilling where my Creator was concerned. Imagine, as in my case, as a child, setting his prayer intention as I seek to be saved from becoming a hamburger. The process of thinking through our intentions may make us laugh sometimes, or it can help us clear some of the deep-rooted fears and misconceptions that are under the surface, silently guiding our thoughts and actions. We have to discover them through reflecting on our intentions, not just in prayer, but in everything for that matter. So let's be honest with ourselves when it comes to our intentions. This is very important. And if our intentions in life are bad for others or do harm to others, let us confront them through such reflection in a healthy manner and correct them. So intention is the first part. Now let us look at the next part of mindset, which is what I call our state of being. State of being defines our deep internal attitudes, energies, and motivations. For example, one example is humility. This is a state of being. It comes naturally in prayer when we realize we are invoking the peak of the sacred pyramid of life. However, it is always good to check on our humility as well. Sometimes we unknowingly consider ourselves or behave in a manner that we are superior to others. We have to discard all our arrogant or non-humble attributes as we prepare for prayer. There again, honesty comes in. Next, gratitude is another very powerful state of being. Gratitude for the gift of life, for all our experiences, resources, loved ones, all the way to the whole of creation. Gratitude is fundamental in prayer and also should be a general foundation of our state of being in everything we do. Gratitude. The next one is unity and harmony. And these are also very important states of being. Why is that? Let us revisit the example of the sacred pyramid I just shared, where you are praying for your loved one in hospital. You are a fundamental element of this pyramid at this time, as are all your fellow beings and creation, and you are praying. So unity and harmony within yourself and with those around you and with your Creator at the apex of the pyramid connects you fully with the entire pyramid, bringing great power to your prayer, whilst creating peace and confidence within yourself. So unity and harmony should be our fundamental state of being. This will also help erase biases, racist attitudes, and all the dirt we pick up consciously and subconsciously from all the volumes of information that are hitting us every moment. Next, there's another important state of being, which is embracing self-correction. Very important, embracing self-correction. This is a state of being where we accept the fact that we are not perfect and that we are vulnerable to erring in every step of our journey. But acknowledging this is one part, and consciously seeking to correct ourselves and seeking forgiveness completes our state of being in a very healthy manner. In addition, when we seek forgiveness, we automatically learn to forgive others, slowly but surely. And that is how this state of being works. And of course, prayer offers us the opportunity to seek forgiveness, not just that of our Creator, but that of the entire sacred pyramid. And in doing so, we will begin to forgive those in the pyramid that have hurt us, so that we can all detach from the pain and go forward in peace. So very healthy state of being. And finally, deep belief and sincerity. And this is another state of being that builds a powerful foundation of trust in our Creator and in the sacred pyramid. And with this trust, our prayer can take on a richer and deeper form, which we can actually feel and experience. If we have no trust or belief in our source of creation, or in the oneness that makes up the sacred pyramid, our prayer may still help, but in a shallower manner. We will be scratching the surface rather than drinking from the deep wells of ultimate fulfillment. So these are some of the examples of what we can consider when building our mindset for prayer. And you will have plenty of your own. Now this brings us to the next stage, which is building focus. Simply reciting words in prayer without understanding them or internalizing them or truly meaning them also makes prayer a shallow experience. It becomes like ticking off a box in the list of things we have to do, very mundane. However, focusing fully on prayer can bring an entirely different experience and outcome, one that entails peace, happiness, and a deep sense of confidence. So, what are some of the key steps of building focus in prayer? There are two parts I wish us to consider today. Part one is the preparation for prayer and the focus it creates. And part two is the focus that is required to engage fully in prayer and sustain our focus, which is our deep inner communication with the highest levels of our being and with the sacred pyramid as a whole. So there are two parts. But before we go further, I would like to emphasize that whatever method one uses to prepare for prayer or to pray is deeply worthy of all our respect. My life's journey has shown me how incredibly judgmental human beings can be towards one another when it comes to prayer. It is one of the most deep-rooted forms of judgmentalism that exists in our world. And of course, it comes from our religious, cultural, and historical origins, as well as sometimes lack of education, to name a few. When we take a step back and look at nature, nature shows us a rainbow with 7 colors, and we all agree that there are 7 colors. But then it breaks these colors into millions of different shades of these 7 basic colors. It challenges us to intellectually witness and appreciate the true diversity of creation. Nature challenges us. It shows us pluralism in its purest form. No one shade of any color is complete without all 7 colors of the rainbow. Nature shows this to us day in and day out. How can any of us dispute the fact that the hundreds of shades of turquoise that are derived from the rainbow are not part of the rainbow? Yet we human beings have brilliantly managed to stand firm in objecting against each shade. We have gone to war and killed and pillaged over our intolerances and divisive nature. It's strange. Here's the rainbow, so obvious, and here we are, endowed with intelligence, endowed with intellect, but look where we end up. So the point I wish to make today is that to get the most out of prayer, we have to free ourselves from all forms of prejudice and judgmentalism that we may knowingly or unknowingly harbor towards the practices of our fellow beings. Why is this essential? I remember one time when I was at university, this anecdote just comes to mind, and it was a Friday, and I decided to attend prayer, which was in one of our student classes. Now, I wasn't used to all the rituals and the moves of that particular prayer, but I thought, let me join. This would be nice. And at the end of the prayer, there's one guy who came to me and said, your prayer will not be accepted. And I go, and who are you to decide that? And he said, because the way you practiced all your movements was completely wrong. And I said, so you can judge that my prayer will be accepted or not. He goes, yeah. Okay, I said, from today I give you the title of Deputy God. And he got teased as Deputy God in the university for a long time to come. But why is this absence of judgmentalism essential? Because collectively, we and all our fellow beings form the sacred pyramid. And this pyramid can only be accessed through unity, respect, and cohesion. Unity, respect, and cohesion. It cannot be accessed where divisive natures prevail. Just a little caution I wish to throw out here, which is also a key part of mindset, by the way, the 7th part. Therefore, my dear friends, everyone has their own unique ways of preparing for prayer and for praying. With that premise in mind, now let us look at part 1 and part 2. Part 1 is building focus before prayer, and there are 6 points to consider here, and I'm sure you'll come up with more. First one is finding the physical space that is conducive to focus and prayer. We stop whatever we are doing and find a quiet space where we can prepare for prayer, whilst making sure that we have also provided ample time, because a rushed prayer is very difficult to focus on. 2, minimizing physical discomfort. In any form of physical discomfort can derail our focus. So sitting or standing or any posture that minimizes discomfort can be very helpful. Number 3, clearing the mind. We can start with a few moments of silent breathing. We can breathe out our worries, our tensions, and built up emotions, and let them go. And we breathe in peace, pure peace, and let this peace reach every cell of our beings. So this is the breathing route, and we practice it every time we prepare for meditation in our practical meditation sessions, as well as in all the guided meditations we have on video. So now in meditation, we use the bird cage to clear the mind. So we do start with the breathing, but then we take on a more focused clearing of the mind with the bird cage, where we visualize this tree stump with a golden cage on it, filled with hundreds of colorful little birds, tiny ones, flying around, chirping noisily, pure chaos, where the cage is our mind, and the birds are our thoughts. And so then we open the cage and we let the birds fly away into the horizon, chirping away noisily. And now the cage is empty, silent, peaceful. Our mind is empty, silent, free of all thought. And so there's a video called Clearing Your Mind in 5 Minutes on our YouTube channel. But this focuses on the bird cage. So if you find this helpful, you can use this as a step as you prepare for prayer. It only takes a few minutes. Or you can just clear your mind through the breathing route alone. Your choice. You can even do both. The next part of building focus is setting our intention, as we have just discussed. The very process of thinking about our intention starts building our focus towards them. Next, we reflect on our state of being. Now, we have covered 6 examples so far, but you can come up with more. So this step involves examining our state of being. Think about, for example, how some of these elements reside in our being, whether we have given them enough consideration at all. Humility, gratitude, unity, harmony, forgiveness and self-correction, depth of belief and sincerity. Reflect on these. How are they sitting in my being? Do I need to foster them? Do I need to fan the fire a bit more? Oh no, I'm perfect, I can go ahead. It's a helpful exercise. Test your state of being. And finally, the 6th point is surrender. Here we consciously surrender to our higher self, to the apex of the sacred pyramid, and to the whole pyramid itself. This surrender shuts down the ego and helps us embrace oneness in a very unique and powerful way. It firmly embeds our roots in oneness, which is where our prayer will lead us to. So that's part 1. Part 2 is the actual prayer. Now let us look at some of the different directions we project in prayer, either knowingly or unknowingly. Many people look physically upwards in the sky when addressing their petitions of prayer. They're looking upwards, or even if their eyes are closed, they are engaging upwards. They find peace and fulfillment in addressing the vastness above. So that's one way. A large number of the people in this world also project their attention towards a physical object or an imaginary symbol that exists directly in front of them. For example, many people, there's hundreds of millions of people who go to temples, and they focus their attention on a physical object or an image of the attribute that they believe their creator represents as relating to the prayer they are performing. So if they are performing prayer for abundance, they will focus their attention on a particular object, a particular idol. And this direct focus on the object also helps give them the opportunity to address their petition in that direction. So this is one way also that people find very helpful. Then there are those that focus their prayer towards a sacred temple or a place that can be in another corner of the world. For example, the Muslims face towards the sacred mosque, which is Mecca. So again, that's another way where people can focus their attention and achieve fulfilling prayer. This too brings them peace and fulfillment. Then there are those that go into nature and pray towards nature's creation. They may not subscribe to any faith or religion, but they believe in nature and the universe, and that works well for them. And finally, there are those that focus inwards when praying, based on the premise that their creator resides within them. They go inwards. For example, the Bhagavad Gita talks about the Creator being seated in the hearts of all creation. So they follow that premise. And in this case, people project their petition directly within their being. Once again, they find peace and fulfillment this way. So we can see how different people can be, even in which direction they project their prayer. We are all different, let alone the prayer itself. I find it beautiful and fascinating, and it works for 7 billion of us in some way, shape, or form. Truly fascinating. As for the actual prayer, that too is very diverse, just like nature's rainbow. We're not going to go into the content of prayer, as that is something very personal to each one of us, be it theological or non-theological or something entirely different in scope and nature. So on this one, each one to his or her own. But on the mannerism side, some people simply recite words of prayer mechanically, and they find it helpful. Some chant or sing individually or collectively. Some go into a deep state of thought, deep appeal, deep fervor. Some practice prayer via meditation. Some speak to the nature or the universe similar to a human dialogue. So even in mannerism, prayer can be very diverse. Now today, I would like to share with you a technique I have learned about prayer. It came to me naturally, by inspiration, like an evolution over time. And I feel that since we have all learned and practiced meditation and explored spirituality quite deeply together for many years, you may find what I am going to share helpful. Recently, we did a webinar on the seventh sense. And please revisit the video on our YouTube, as this will help provide deeper context for the technique I'm about to share with you. So in this webinar, we talk about the fact that we have 5 senses: touch, taste, sight, hearing, and smell. Then we have the 6th sense, which encompasses intuition and inner voice. And finally, the 7th sense, which is our spiritual epicenter, our most intelligent spot, where we engage with and internalize and process vibrations of the highest kind. And this is located in the middle of our chest, the solar plexus area, where the heart is also located. Now, I won't go into the 7th sense today, as there's a very good description in the webinar video. So the technique I wish to share with you has the following simple steps. Firstly, I complete the preparation for my prayer, which includes all the steps we have covered today: intention and all, state of being. Next, I go into a state of pure peace and calmness, which comes from disengaging from all my material thoughts and my material consciousness. And we practice these steps of detachment in all the guided meditations. So do revisit them and practice them with the videos. So they're all on the YouTube channel. So after these first 2 fundamental steps, my mind is clear, I am at peace, and I'm ready to take the next step. Now, what is the next step? I now plant my word or words of prayer in my 7th sense. Now, how do I do it? So basically, in that very peaceful state, usually with my eyes closed, I go within and I focus on my 7th sense in my heart area. And with that focus, open myself to my 7th sense. Okay? And when I reach that level of comfort that I am engaged with my 7th sense, I place the word of prayer and I repeat this word in very slow rhythm. Then as I keep repeating this word, suddenly I stop repeating this word in my mind and simply listen. and I hear the same word being repeated from the center of my chest. And it does not necessarily follow what my mind wants to say. It's coming from within, it's coming from the seventh sense. I'm now hearing the prayer call that is emerging from my soul. It's a beautiful, beautiful experience. And this form of prayer is beautiful because you can hear your soul repeating your words of prayer. For your mind to completely sink into, very fulfilling. The Creator is present with your soul. So every word of prayer flows directly into the oneness. There's no gap. It is like if I want to reach all the oceans of the world, all I have to do is dip my toe in the ocean. And now I'm connected to every ocean in the world. That is how deep internal prayer works. It occurs at a point where meditation, which is listening or receiving, converges with prayer, which is speaking or transmitting. It is a very intimate form of practice. It is like a very close engagement with the Creator, intimate and connected. Also, this whole process of listening to your prayer keeps you in a deeper state of focus because you're not thinking of what to recite. You are simply listening and following. And yeah, we have a few moments. Why don't we do a quick practice of how this is done? And then in the next practical meditation session, we will actually go deeper into this technique. So let's take a moment, sit back, close our eyes. Close our eyes and breathe freely. Let go of all your tensions, worries, all your emotions. Let them all go. Breathe them out. And breathe in peace, pure peace. Pure peace. Clear your being of emotions and thoughts. Breathe them all out and breathe in peace. Take a moment and clear your mind, clear your being, and fill it with peace. If it helps you, repeat a word in your mind: peace, peace, peace. Now let us pick a prayer word. Let us use a universal word like origin. So let us slowly repeat in our minds, origin, origin, origin. Keep repeating this word in slow rhythm in your mind. Origin. Now stop repeating the word origin and sit back and listen to it recited from your soul. Seek to listen. If you can hear it, it is very beautiful. And if you can't, practice this till you can. Now you may open your eyes. It's a very beautiful add-on to prayer, where you're actually engaging your soul. There's a lot of power in that prayer. And like I said, you are completely connected with your Creator at this point. So your prayer just flows. Those of you who were able to hear it, even if it was in the softest whisper, that's wonderful. And if you weren't able to, practice this sometimes in your quiet time until you hear it. And when you sit to recite your prayers, recite your normal prayers, but at some point go silent and listen, and your soul may start repeating it. Now, what I do, for example, when I prepare for my meditation in the morning at 4 a.m., I don't even decide what I'm going to recite in terms of my preparation prayer. I just sit quietly, and whatever my soul wants to recite, it recites, and I hear it, and I just follow it. And I have no control over what it's going to recite, at what pace, how, which direction it's going to go, but I just go with its flow. It's very empowering. So I thought today I would just introduce you to the concept. When we do our next practical meditation session, maybe we will take a little longer and practice this as well. This is food for thought for you. I'm not saying this is the way, I'm saying this is a way. But whatever works for you, stick with it. If you find adding this dimension helps you, great. If not, well, then you were exposed to one another way of approaching prayer.